What's up, Eagles Nation? What's going on, NFL world? How you doing, division rivals? This is Steven Hyder with Gate City Sports Channel, the sports channel where the cerebral NFL fan comes for about 10 minutes of daily content. Hey guys, how's everybody doing? Man, that was an enjoyable Sunday, was it not? Listen, if you are new to this channel, maybe you've watched a couple of videos, maybe you're starting to get a feel for me. If I could just ask you to do a huge favor for me, go ahead and hit that subscribe button. Down in your bottom right-hand corner, you'll see a little watermark that says subscribe. Hit that. It's going to take away from the video for just a few seconds, and it'll bring you right back once you're done, guys. Listen, if you're really into someone who will break down film for you to back up their opinions with, the basis of what they see on film, you like someone who will present to you analytics, how analytics is used, refute some of the things that they see, show you other things that they agree with, I think you'll enjoy this channel, guys. It's really what I'm about. Also, to all my guys that's been around trying to spread the word for me, you guys are out there saying, man, Gate City, we got to grow this channel, bro. We got to get you out there in front of more people. Hey, look, I really appreciate everything you guys are doing for me, man. Some of you guys have really taken the weight of this channel on your back and have really gone out there. Speaking to you, Jason Wall, because you've definitely been one from since you started subscribing to the channel who's tried to push me out there in front of other people. And I really do appreciate you, brother. If you guys really want to help grow the channel in that way, the easiest thing you can do, guys, is to hit that like button. When you hit that like button, that's what communicates with YouTube to tell YouTube that, hey, man, like this guy's getting a lot of interaction from fans, from other people on the platform, and we need to actually push his videos out there into the recommended feeds of other people. So that's one easy way of growing the channel, guys. All right, let's jump into today's topic. Woo boy. I got an interesting topic for y'all today. And let me just preface this by saying, don't come for me, guys. I'm just telling you, I'm just giving a small perspective of what I'm seeing on film. And I think there is an argument that's emerging about a player I personally have criticized. I personally see some faults in his game, but boy, oh boy, has he made a few plays of recent. If you haven't caught on who I'm talking about and what I'm alluding to, I'm talking about Sidney Jones, guys. And here's what I'm going to say, guys. I think Sidney Jones might be warranting some playing time. I'll tell you, in man-to-man coverage situations, he's playing pretty well. So today's topic, guys, I want to talk about what's going to happen at the cornerback position going forward. It's kind of an interesting conversation here. All right, y'all, let's jump into it.
I've had unfortunate injuries, and that's, I think, what's been holding me back.
All right, guys, I got a feeling you guys are going to come for me in this video about Sidney Jones. But I got to tell you, what I'm seeing on film is a guy, when you put him in man coverage, he's a different animal than when you put him in zone. He's got a lot of development and a lot to learn about playing off coverage zone concept. But in man, he is kind of respectable, guys. You know what? I think this conversation is going to require a little more. I'm on empty here on my coffee, so just give me a second. We're going to continue this when I got some coffee in me. That's much better. All right, where were we at? Oh, yeah. Sidney Jones, and why Sidney Jones might be developing and why we might be seeing maybe better football out of Sidney Jones than we expected. All right, now I got my coffee. Let's get into this. So to begin with, look, I saw his comments there, and I'll be honest about his comments. Yeah, I think that there's some legitimacy to what Sidney Jones said about injuries hampering his play, but I also think there's an element of bullshit there too, guys, if I'm going to be honest. And look, Sidney Jones, if by any weird chance this video ever gets to you, brother, I do need to apologize, because sometimes I think as content creators, we do forget that you guys are human beings and we may take criticism a little too far. And I certainly came down upon you like a ton of bricks. Because let's be honest, I'm a guy who understands football, who's not nearly as talented as you are as an athlete. But I do know football. I've played it. I've coached it. I've been around it my entire life. And I knew when I watched film, you were not doing very well in zone coverage concepts, and you're still a little suspect there to me. However, I'll give you props where props are due, Sidney Jones. In man coverage, you're doing well. But I wanted to address something you said. Hamstring, nagging injuries since the start of your career have hampered your productivity. Come on, brother. You ain't fooling me again. Look, in zone, I want to show you what we're seeing in zone. So I'm going to show you a man concept. It's still a zone man concept. It looks like to me if it's a cover three kind of concept to where when you're in off coverage, you don't read and diagnose plays very well. And I'll show you what I mean. On this one play with a very, very fast player like Stephon Diggs, who's very quick, just like you are yourself, there's a quick, just, it's a quick get the ball out of your hand kind of wide receiver screen type play, and you react to it fairly well, but you're just a second too late to reading diagnose the play, and that turns into a big chunk play. Let me show you.
Second down and 5. Stephon Diggs, nice move on Jones.
Sidney, I think there's only one way to explain what you need to do to correct that type of play. And it's simply put, it's nothing more than this.
Oh, you almost had it. You got to be quicker than that.
This is what I'll say. All year when I watch film of Sidney Jones, what I'm seeing is this. A guy who really does struggle in off coverage, zone concepts or man concepts. When you put him in an off coverage situations, he just doesn't read the route tree well. He doesn't understand his assignments within the zone or within the defensive, the secondary concept that well. And he's just a little too late to react. And you guys know I have a saying here. Bro, Sidney, my saying is simply put, when Sidney's stinking, Sidney's stinking. I'm going to show you an example, Sidney, where people like me are criticizing you to where, look, you got to be better than that. You got to know how to read and diagnose the play and understand that, look, man, like, you got to you got to make the play, bro. You got to be better than this.
On second and goal, Cousins to the end zone, Thielen.
I will take your back on this play on one aspect, Sidney. There's one aspect I'll have your back on. This wasn't so much on you as it was your defensive backs coach, Corey Undelin, and your defensive coordinator, Jim Schwartz. Because there's no reason when they see you matched up with Thielen to why you wouldn't be pressed down on the goal line on Thielen. He ain't running by you in that short space. You're a faster, you're a better, athlete than Adam Thielen is. To me, that part, I got your back on that. That part is ridiculous. With that said, that's an instance where I can't tell if that's cover one or cover three because there's not enough development there to see it. But certainly you're in off coverage, either man or off coverage zone. And look, bro, you get beat by simple out and up. That's just an out and up route, man. And you got beat. He created enough distance on you because you thought a little too much about it. Gotta let your instincts take over, man. Gotta play with instincts when you're in those off coverage concepts. And look, man, I know that the storybook is not written on you yet, man. I know you've got time to learn that. And I want to give you credit today. Today's video is not about crapping on you. I think you're actually doing a damn good job. And I think some of the Eagles' season, if we are able to salvage this season, make it into the postseason and make a run, it's partially due to the fact that you took a lot of crap. You took a lot of criticism. You took the weight of some of the defensive woes on your shoulders. And when the chips were down, brother, came up with a play. I'm not ignoring that fact, bro. We owe you. We do owe you because you've been clutch when we've needed it. And I will say this, and I'm not going to show any clips of this, but I do think that you're a pretty damn good tackler for a smaller guy. I'm going to say that outright. But let's get into what I want to talk about, which is when I see you in man concept to where you're not off ball coverage, I think you're a different animal, man. I think your coverage is pretty damn good. And I want to show that.
And again, they still want to test Sidney Jones to return from the hamstring.
I want to be transparent here and let everyone know they did they threw a flag on this play, which to me, it's ridiculous. If you're a Vikings fan out there, you know this is a bullshit call. This team, both of these guys have been hand fighting all game long. There's nothing there that hinders the route. He just got better positioning on it than Stephon Diggs did. This is a very good example of how to run stride for stride with a very fast player, get physical with him, and basically take away any throwing lane that's possible. This is very good man coverage.
He has good position there. Frankly, I don't know.
Look, as I'm watching that, I see a defensive back that gets his head turned around on the football, plays the ball. Man, it's good coverage. It's just flat out good coverage. And this is the frustrating part about Sidney Jones. This dude has exceptional athleticism. This is something you don't find and even many NFL players. This is a very athletically gifted kid. He's fast. He can play the football in the air. He's just he's not he doesn't he's got a lot of growth to go when it comes to learning the game. His football IQ seems to be somewhat stunted when it comes to zone concepts, reading and playing quarterback's eyes, understanding and getting a feel for the routes. He's a young kid though. I mean, in his defense, he's a very, very young and very, very raw, but dude, there's a lot of athleticism there. That's why I caution people that this is a kid that if he goes to the right system that primarily runs a man concept, could become an absolute star because I'm telling you, this kid is pretty damn good in man coverage. Like I said, in zone coverage, I think that's more of a Rasul thing. Rasul to me is a very good zone coverage corner. He knows how to read and diagnose, and he will go after a guy. And you look at the Atlanta game and watch a few of the times that Rasul really reacted to some of those short dump off plays. He did a damn good job of getting up and playing that ball. So, look, I do think this guy's a different animal. Now, I want to flip the discussion. This is where this might get a little contentious, guys. I'm going to tell you something. I'm not disappointed if Ronald Darby, who I think is Sidney Jones is a Ronald Darby type player. He's the next guy who has certain athleticism that the rest of the roster doesn't have at that position. But this is what I'll say. Where I think, personally, Ronald Darby is a better zone coverage corner, I think that Sidney Jones is your much better man coverage corner. And what I'm telling you guys, what I'm saying, I'm going to give the Gate City Sports Channel seal of approval here. I think Jim Schwartz should maybe consider, instead of playing Ronald Darby so many snaps, maybe in your man concepts, maybe you give a little more snaps to Sidney Jones, and then maybe when you're zoning, maybe you give a little more to Rasul Douglas. Because I got to tell you, he's outplaying. He is definitely outplaying Ronald Darby in man coverage. And I'm going to give some examples, guys. I want to show you examples where it cannot be denied. He's just better at playing the football.
He got the time Fitzpatrick did. This is just a jump ball. And look,
as you watch this play, guys, look, he's in an off coverage concept, but still a man concept. He, at this point, he's stride for stride. He's in position. The issue isn't a blown coverage. It's not his positioning. It's none of that. It's simply put, Ronald Darby just does not do a good job of playing the ball in the air. And that is a major problem that really comes down to coaching. And like Ronald Darby, even though he's a young guy, has been in the league for a while. He should be a lot better playing the ball in the air than what he is in a man concept. But look, it ain't good. Let's watch how the play ends.
Height mismatch. Throw the 50-50 ball. And
some of you might be asking, Gate City, Steve, what did you want him to do, man? Like he's in a height mismatch there. Like he's got the positioning, but he's just not, how is he supposed to break up that pass? Well, I'll explain to you exactly what you're taught to do in that particular situation. When you got a situation where you got a guy that can either high point the ball better than you can, so he can jump out of the ceiling where you can't, or it's a height mismatch, you're taught to let him go up, grab the football, and as he's coming down with the football, you're supposed to take your hand as a defender and either open-handed, punch it out, or closed-handed, punch it out. That's what you're supposed to do. That's how you play the football in that particular situation. Body positioning was great. He didn't get beat on the coverage. He just didn't play the ball in the air very well. That's the problem with Ronald Darby. And there's even plays to where he's in positioning. The ball's not like where it's elevated to where he can't go get it. He can't play the ball. He's not playing the receiver's eyes. He's not playing the receiver's hands. He's waiting way too long to turn back and trying to locate the football. And I'll show you an example of that as well.
Fitzpatrick on fourth down. And this pass is...
Obviously on a 4th and 4 because of the down and distance. Of course, Ronald Darby is then playing up. He's not really, I wouldn't call that a press, but he's playing up. He's playing up on him. It's a man concept. And look, he's got good body positioning. He's running stride for stride with him. Look, Ronald Darby's a very athletic dude. I'm not going to take that away from him. He's a very athletic guy, but he doesn't play the ball well in the air. He waits way too long to try to turn and locate the football and just does a miserable job of doing that. which ends up leading to a touchdown, a play that shouldn't happen. And this is where I've got to give props to Sidney Jones, because in a very similar situation to where the game was on the line yesterday, Sidney Jones showed that, man, that guy knows how to play a receiver's eyes, his hands. He knows how to turn and locate the football and put that shit away. Make sure it does not happen. I got to give Sidney Jones props there. That kid is starting to really develop there.
One-on-one, as we've seen throughout this game. And
look, the next statement I'm going to make, I know is going to be controversial. I know it. But this is what I'm going to say. When someone has the hot hand, you got to play it. And like it or not, when we're in man coverage, Sidney Jones has had the hot hand of lately. You got to play it, man. You got to play it when players are starting to feel it. I know there's flaws to his game. He ain't fooling me. I know there's flaws to Sidney Jones' game. But you know what? How's a kid going to develop without reps? You know what I mean? Like, if we're going to win this, if we're going to really, honestly win this division next week, if we're really honestly going to have a magical possible run to where maybe we get Jordan Howard back, maybe we get Deshaun Jackson back, and really just the dynamic of this team changes, it's going to be largely due because of players like Sidney Jones rising up and believing in the system, believing in the concepts, believing in the team. Okay? Look, sometimes people just heal. We don't know why. They just heal. And I got to tell you, as I'm watching the film, I'm seeing a guy who's deserving of more playing time. I don't know how else to say it. I like Craig James. Craig James is a good special teams player. I feel like Craig James can come in, especially on the inside, and make a play or two if you need him to. I'm not faulting Craig James. I think it was a hell of a job of the professional scouting department of the Philadelphia Eagles identifying that kid. With that said, bro, it might be Sidney Jones' time in man coverage. It might be Rasul Douglas' time in zone coverage. Play the young kids. They're playing. They're believing. You got to keep playing them. Let these young kids define the season. Let them be the definition of what this 2019 Eagles season will be. It's got to be on them. Because number one, if it ain't on them, how do you evaluate the talent on this roster without putting it in the hands of the young kids? You got to put it in the hands of the young kids and let the young kids play. Let these young kids eat. Let them define the season. Let them define the future structure of this Philadelphia Eagles roster, because we're going to have some major decisions coming up in 2020 and 2021. Major organizational shifting type decisions have to occur. How can you make those decisions if you don't play the kids on the field? Play them. Win or lose. What have we lost at this point? Even if we go out there and we play a hard-fought game and somehow the talent level of the Giants comes up and beats us and Dallas slips into the playoffs by some backdoor bullcrap, I'm not going to be dissatisfied with the Eagles. At least I know these young kids fought around Carson Wentz, and there's something to build there. Sure, that would absolutely mean that clearly we got to diagnose the roster and make changes to the roster, but I'd rather live and die by the young kids than to have some of these older guys that just have been in the system for a very long time deserve pats on the back for what they've helped us accomplish. But it might be time for them to be saying, hey, bro, peace out, man. We appreciate everything you've done, but we got to go in a different direction. Let the young kids play, guys. I'd rather live and die by the young kids. It's time to let these young kids play. It's time to figure out what we got in this roster. All right, guys, that's all I got. So here's my comment for the day, guys. This is what I would love to hear your thoughts on. Sidney Jones, play him or bury him? Where do you stand? What is your viewpoint on this topic? All right, y'all, you know what time it is. Peace. It's time for me to jump off right here, and this is what I'm going to do. I'm going to do a little song where we go Eagles. Hey, guys, we got some momentum. There's a little mojo here, guys. There's a little magic working. Let's whisper it. Don't yell it out there, guys. Let's just whisper this. These guys are buying into this underdog stuff again, guys. People are buying into Carson. Let's whisper it. Something magical feels like it's happening, but let's not bring too much light to it. Let's keep letting people doubt us.